I'm Lynn Taylor. I'm an indie author interviewing other indie authors. And today we have Jeanette T. Queen, who is the author of The Last Pendragon. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Awesome. So we're going to talk about your Pendragon book, but then we also have a second one coming out soon, or is it already out yet?
Nope, it actually just got sent to my beta readers this afternoon. So
Awesome. Okay. Normally what do is I start off saying, what inspired you to start writing?
I, I don't honestly know. I never meant to be a writer. I loved reading. I actually grew up as a theater kid, so my dream was Broadway. But I always had this idea for this book in my head, like starting when I was in my 20s. And then life happened, and I just, like I said, never thought I was a writer. And then COVID happened, and everybody was stuck at home. And I was going to school online to get my hypnotherapy certification. And I had two kids I was homeschooling, and it was just like I needed an outlet. And then during a meditation class where I was learning to teach other people how to meditate, the first 7 chapters of The Last Pendragon just like downloaded and wouldn't go away until I did it. And then once you got the first 7 chapters, I was like, oh, I might as well finish it now.
Right.
So then once I finished it, I was like, well, I might as well see what I can do with it. So that's kind of just how it happened.
Yeah. Well, and for me, if I get a download and I finally get it out of my head and put it on paper, I guess the universe is like, oh, she's empty, and they give me more downloads. Do you have that same thing where you just constantly are getting ideas?
Oh, I have 4 different works in progress now. I've been really trying hard to concentrate on book 2, which is called Rise of the Pendragon. But then I have these 3 other books that have popped into my head that are like, write me, write me. So yes, it's like you write the one book and then Pandora's box opens up and it's like, okay.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. I get that. I think I'm working on 3 books as well right now. So for someone who hasn't even heard of The Last Pendragon or has started reading it but hasn't really got into it yet, what is your pitch that you have for that book?
It is a modern twist on the Arthurian lore with supernaturals.
Okay.
So you've got your modern, you got your all the stuff you love about Arthurian lore, but and you have your fantasy element and you have vampires and you've got dragon shifters and you've got magic and we've got a woman wielding Excalibur, which, I love.
Right. No, I love that. Okay, so yeah, okay, you have vampires and dragons. I don't know if I've heard of anything like that before.
I
How
have
did
a
you
little bit
start
of
with that?
everything. Like literally I threw everything, anything that I loved, I threw in this book.
Yeah, why not? So I'm
Exactly.
assuming with this, you also had to do some world building around it, and how was that creating that world?
It was fun. I mean, luckily I did have I it is based in modern times and then it also is based on some Arthurian things. So I just kind of pulled what I loved out of the Arthurian lore and just used it. And then of course modern day.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you have you talked about the woman that has the Excalibur? Do you want to talk about that character, or do you want to talk about other specific characters you have that
We
you
can
really
talk
love in
about
that story?
Elizabeth. She is my main female character. She's a young woman. She just graduated college. She has an archaeology degree, but she doesn't want to follow that. She doesn't know what she wants to do. She was raised in the human realm. She thinks she's human until trolls destroy her house and dragon fire pops out of her hands. And she's like, what the?
Right.
So that kind of starts the story. Then she realizes that she has the sword Excalibur, which of course is famous from King Arthur, and it just things go on from there. She finds out her ex boyfriend who like broke her heart ends up being a half vampire, and she didn't know vampires were real. And like I said, trolls like destroyed her house, and
Yeah.
it's just all these things coming at her. And then she finds out there's dragon shifters, and
Right. So I'm assuming she goes through the huge character growth of like starting off being like, this is my life. And then she's like, everything's awful. And now she's like, all right, everything's fine again. Like,
that
getting
she
used
actually has a breakdown in one of the scenes where she says, so basically I'm a fairy princess, it's just all writes itself. So because it's just like, what? Yes,
yeah. Yeah. You're like, what am I supposed to do? I'm just a little old me. Like, what am I supposed to do?
exactly.
Okay. So, and in the first book, again, you have the dragons too. And so how did the dragons come to play with that one?
Well, she finds out that that she has dragon blood in her, and that's where um dragon fire comes from. Though she does not have a dragon, but So she's sent on this journey to the realm of the dragons, where she finds out that she is in fact a part of their family, and how she's a part of their family. They tell her, so we, and then so we have a nice little Prince Drake, who is like our main dragon shifter, but he's not a love interest. He's family, so don't get y'all excited.
Right. So is she technically a dragon shifter too, with being a part of that family?
She says she has dragon blood, but
Mm.
she is only the second humanoid, I guess, in history that does not have a dragon but still has the powers or the
Okay.
magic.
Okay. So your second one, and we keep going back and forth between the first and second, but your
That's
second one
okay.
is the Rise of the Pendragon. And so is she the Pendragon or is that something
Yes.
you figure? Okay.
She is the last Pen. She does find out in the first book that she is, in fact, a member of the Pendragon family. She is the last Pendragon. And in this book, book one does leave on a double cliffhanger. In this book, she just continues her growth. And one of her there's a bit of a love triangle in book one, and one of her, well, actually both of them are left in bad situations at the end of book one. But her goal in book two is to save one of them. Like
Mm,
she has to find this thing that can save him, and she doesn't even know if it still exists anymore.
got it. Okay. So it's not save one of them as in she has to choose and she's put into that like really difficult choice between the two love interests.
I don't know. We'll have to
Oh,
see.
okay. All right. All right. So when you say the rise of her, is this kind of going, is it like a prequel in a sense, or is it just continuing on?
It's
Or-
continuing
yeah.
on. She's rising into her power. She's stepping
Okay.
into and accepting who she is.
Okay. And the villain, do you have a villain or is it kind of more of a concept of like villain?
There's multiple villains, though this one, there's a little bit of a twist on the villain in book two, and I don't want to give that away,
Yeah.
but
And so
there's a
the,
little bit of a twist. That we have Lilith, who is like the biblical Lilith. In Jewish mythology, she was Adam's first wife.
mm,
So her vendetta is basically she wants to wipe out all humans, and Elizabeth is technically a descendant of Eve, and she blames Eve for all of her issues. So there's a little bit of a biblical element to it as well with the villain. And then she also has her first in command, Dimitri, who is just this really bad vampire who just wants Elizabeth.
so is it, and then the villain of the first book, do those kind of come over from the first
Those are
book?
the two main
Okay.
villains of the first book, and they come over. Lilith is the ultimate villain throughout the whole series.
Okay.
But again, there is a little bit of a twist with who, I mean, you see Dimitri and you see Lilith in this book, but they have somebody else working for them. And that's a little bit of a twist as to who it is that's working with them going after Elizabeth in this book.
Okay. And so do you have ideas for a third book in this, or is it going to stop at the second one?
There's going to be at least four books and a novella, because I do have Santa Claus in the book. He's a character. My readers have dubbed him Hot Santa, and they want a novella for him and Mrs. Claus, how they meet, because they are both former Knights of the Round Table, and they were knights with King Arthur.
Okay.
So
I
I
like
don't
that.
know if I was hoping for this Christmas, but book two took a little longer than I was expecting. So we'll see.
Right. It could still happen. You never know. You could get
This
that
is true.
downloaded, get those 7 chapters really quickly.
Right, exactly.
Go to that meditation class again. Yeah, you have in here. Oh, you have in here also magic. So do you want to talk about your magic, what you made in there and like what kind of magic you have in this story?
Well, there's actually she gets a whole lesson on the different types of magic. Hers is more elemental, so she does find out that besides the dragon fire, which is obviously fire, she has some earth magic, she has some wind magic. They tell her she has water. She hasn't discovered the water yet, so she doesn't know if she's going to have all of the elements.
Mm,
And then there are other magic people, like some people can ghost walk or spirit walk, and then there's obviously the shifters and the sorcerers that can wield magic and cast spells. So there's a little bit of everything.
right.
But
So,
Elizabeth's is elemental based.
okay. No, I like that. So, is the main, I don't want to say problem, I feel like there's a better word, but is the main conflict of the book the Lilith and these villains, or does she have another like destiny that she's trying to come up against?
There is a prophecy because it's not a fantasy unless there's a prophecy. There is an overall theme and how the series is going to end. But Lilith is the main baddie. She's the one that wants Elizabeth. She's the one that wants to basically enslave everybody, wants to wipe out the human race, wants everybody. She's the mother of vampires, mothers of demons. She controls them all. So she's the big baddie. And at the end of book 4, there's going to be a confrontation between her and Elizabeth.
Right. Yeah, she's got to rally her troops and then go after Lilith.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're preparing for the war.
right. So you said, and I don't know if you want to put this in here or not, but you said that you're doing a campaign, a full campaign for the second book. So do you have promotional ideas coming up for this or any events that you want to blast about?
I'm actually launching a Kickstarter next week because I've partnered with an amazing artist that does sprayed edges. I thought it was right here, but yeah. So I have sprayed edges. I'm doing a special 1 year anniversary edition of The Last Pendragon, and then
Yeah.
I'm also doing a separate one for first run edition of Rise of the Pendragon, and they're going to be sprayed edges. I also found a company that one of my stretch goals will be foil on the front. I'm forgetting what else I have. I've actually got some ideas. Like I somebody had recommended like pajamas, so I don't know if I'm going to do pajamas or not. But I have like specialty bookmarks and you know things along that line.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you say pajamas? Like pajama pants?
Pajamas, like somebody recommended that they did a Kickstarter and they offered book themed pajamas and people loved it. So if I can
Yeah,
find them, I might be throwing that on there.
that's a genius idea. I've never heard of that, but I absolutely
I
would get
haven't
the
either,
pajama
but I'm
pants.
stealing it.
Yeah.
I was like, that works for me.
What
Okay.
else do we wear while we're reading books? Pajama pants.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So you said you're in a beta reader stage, and then are you going to do ARC reads after this?
I am.
Okay. So then
The
you'll have a,
betas, I have 5 beta readers, so they're doing their thing. It's slated to go for my line copy edit in July, and then I will hopefully, depending on that, hopefully by the middle of August, I will be sending out ARC reads with the intention of on October 10th release.
yeah. Okay. And are you going to have a sign up for the ARC reads, or do you already kind of have a list going up now?
I just did the video. I haven't posted it yet, but yes, I'm doing a video this week where I'm launching a whole new ARC and street team. So
Yeah.
if anybody's interested, the link is in my link tree or the whatever, the signups in my link tree.
Yeah, honestly, I will keep an eye out for it, but the algorithm's trash lately. If you want to comment and tag me, I will share that video. I'll try to
Oh,
find
I will
it, but
do that.
sometimes it doesn't come to me. So,
I know. Same.
yeah. Well, that's so exciting. So yeah, you have all that kind of wrapping up. You're getting to the finish line. You'll have your big release, and then the sprayed edges and everything. Well, then what? You said you had other book ideas in your mind. Are you going to jump right in? Are you going to take a break?
Probably jump writing because they've already kind of started,
Mm.
and like I said, they're very loud. I have fantasy mafia with my main character is a dragon shifter, so that would be interesting. I've got a witchy rom com, and then I have another one that just kind of like came to me in a dream the other day, kind of like a twist on Alice in the Looking Glass type of thing, where basically my main character during the day she's in the normal human realm, and at night in she gets transported to a magical world during her dreams, and
Okay.
she has to figure out why. So those are the 3 I have in works now, plus the Hot Santa novella. So I guess really got 4.
Right. Well, and so you talked about how you have the meditation class that you did and then the hypnosis. Do you put any of that into any of your books? Like, do you kind of incorporate that as pieces of you into your books?
I haven't yet. It doesn't mean I won't in the future. I mean, Elizabeth does Tai Chi, which is kind of like a meditation type of thing because they're doing the movements and they kind of go into like a meditative state while they're doing
Mm.
it.
Hmm.
But I haven't. But like I said, you never know. I might.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, okay, so we can go ahead and kind of jump around too. So I did give you some words for the artwork segment, and I didn't know if you wanted to try that. We can totally cut this out if you didn't want to do it.
Oh, I
Oh,
did it.
okay.
I did it.
So I sent
My
you,
words were
yeah,
snack, remedy, and nap.
yes.
So I made a comic.
I love that.
I don't know if you can see it. It's a stick figure comic, but it's a comic. Can you see it? I don't even know.
Yeah, I can see it. Do you have the snack? You have the
Okay, I
chips
was going to
out.
say, so the first part is basically the snack. She's overdoing it on the chips. Then the second part is the chips are done and she's unhappy because she's got an upset stomach. The remedy is a nap.
Ain't that the truth?
So
So accurate. Honestly, I can only draw sick people too, so that's exactly what mine would look like too.
that's that's my art. That's why I have character artists
Yeah,
because
so
I
that's why
get
we
to do
hire
it
other people to do our art for us.
exactly.
Well, okay, so one of the other things I do like asking indie authors when I get a chance to do it and the timer doesn't run out is, do you have any advice for new indie authors that are coming onto the scene and for the like even if they haven't published their first book yet?
The best advice that I've personally ever received, and I asked that same question to all the authors I interview, and everybody basically says the same thing: write it. You can't edit a blank page,
Mm,
so just write it. Even if you are the only person that ever reads it, you never published it, get it out of your head and onto the paper.
yeah. Well, it's a very therapeutic thing too. I mean, because otherwise, like you said, they're very loud in our head. Like
They're very
they
loud.
will constantly like an earworm. They just keep going and going, and I'm like, just get out.
Exactly.
Did you also, I always love asking this too because everyone agrees and it's always just funny hearing their stories, but did your characters also just take the reins at some point and run away from where you thought it was going to go?
Book two, yes. Book two, like I struggled. I had writer's block for like 2 months and I couldn't figure out why. And then I realized I was fighting against where they were going because they were making a character that my readers love do things that my readers are not going to be happy about. And then I finally just went with it. And then, like, a week before I got like the full manuscript down, it came to light why they were going that way because I'm a pantser. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. Now I understand why you were making, why this
Yeah.
happened.
Isn't that so crazy? It's just bizarre. Like it's almost like it's not even our consciousness writing it. So insane.
It is. It's almost like the characters are legit breathing entities that just happen to live in our head.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm a pantser, so I don't know what's happening until it pops out on the page. And I'll be like, what?
absolutely same. Hence why I have multiple works in progress because they come to me and I'm like, I have to stop, write it, and go to the next one.
Yeah, I've been telling mine, I was like, people, you need to stop because I have got to get this book done.
Yeah, yeah, yep. I've also yelled at this guy saying that too.
Yes.
Well, this is although all this is so exciting. A new book is always very exciting, and getting the hype up for it, getting the ARC reads, getting the reviews for it. And did you do ARC reads and beta reads for your first book, or is this your first time doing that?
I did not do beta reads. I did do ARC reads, but I learned so much from that first book. I was so green and really didn't know what I was doing that I'm doing things a little more differently, a little more organized this time. So
Yeah.
hopefully.
No, yeah, we learn every single time something new to do. I mean, people even because I haven't done an ARC read yet, but I've seen people who have, and they say, "Okay, so next time I'm going to do it very differently." I'm like, "What do you mean differently? Is there levels or like, what do we do?"
I
So,
got help. I actually hired a PA and she is helping me with the street team and the art team. I also just created a Facebook reading group. So that she's helping me with that too. So
yeah. Yeah, so you'll have like a email campaigns and all of the
yes.
organized stuff. Yeah. That's the part that kind of
Yeah.
terrifies me about
Because
ARC
you need
reads.
that organized person because I
Yeah.
am not.
I can be, but it's a lot. I mean, because I was on one that had some like a professional doing it, and she was just consistently in there. I'm like, I couldn't keep up like this. I'd like to, I couldn't.
Yes, no. So we just partnered up. So this will be the first like month that she's working with me. So we'll see how it goes. But
Yeah. Well, so do you happen I'm sorry if I don't know this, but do you happen to have a TikTok shop or any place that you're selling your signed copies or books yourself?
I did have a TikTok, but it wasn't, I really didn't do anything with it. And I sold like a couple of books, but they didn't notify me. So I just said, forget it, I'm not worried with it. I do have an Etsy shop called Jeanette T. Queen Books.
And do you have
So
signed
that's
copies
the,
on there?
huh?
Yeah, are you selling signed copies on there or just the
Yes, that's where you can get the signed copies. They come wrapped, inks or wax sealed with all the swag. So,
Yeah.
or
Yes.
you can get it like on the Zon and, Books and Noble, or yeah, barnesandnoble.com, all those places too. But if you want a signed copy, you want to go to the Epsies, or you can even message me. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, and for those who don't know, we kind of dabbled in this, but Jeanette does indie author interviews herself, and so I've been on hers before. And so, do you still do those interviews, or are you kind of putting those on pause for right now?
No, I actually have amped up. I now have a co-host. So I have a show called Get Down and Dirty with Jeanette and Stacy. It's with dark romance author Stacy Rush. It was originally supposed to be every other Friday. We are now booked every Friday and most Wednesdays out until December. So, but if you want to get in, we are constantly adding dates because if you have a new release, we want to help get you out there. So the link or the sign up form is in my bio, so you guys can go in, fill out that form, and we will definitely get you scheduled.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
But I
awesome.
still do my individual ones as well. So if we can't get you in with me and Stacy, then I can definitely still get you in, and that's called Live with Jeanette, and that sign up is also in my bio.
Yeah. And so, are you guys with your co-hosting thing? Are you doing that on TikTok Live as well, or are you doing it more of like a
We do
podcast?
do it on TikTok, but we also offer Instagram. Like I think next Friday, we've got 3 guests coming on Instagram.
Okay.
So we do our sessions, and yes, I said 3 because we realize that we are online for like 3 to 4 hours anyway when it's just her and I. so so yeah, so we and you can people can do panel style where it's multiple people. Like November, we're doing narrator November where we've designated all of our slots to narrators, and every day, every time we have one, it's like multiple narrators are coming on together. So
Yeah.
you can do it like where you have the hour slot, or you can bring a friend and fill up the whole time. It's up to you guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how is it feeling doing it with a co-host? I mean, does it feel fun, a little bit more fun, or is it a little bit more
It
chaotic?
is a little more fun because I mean, she came on my show multiple times and we just always had such a good time and we have such a good rapport. And we met up at Lucky and Lombard, and she had a couple alcoholic beverages. I was super tired and she's like, we should do the show together. And I'm like, oh, well, let's do it. And it's just like blown into this thing. And
Yeah.
it's different, but it's a lot more fun because if you're like sometimes you'll have a question, it will leave your head and you're like, wait a minute, she'll kick in and like ask a question. So it's nice to have that person to fire off of.
Right. And you met off a book talk. That's amazing.
We did, and we have like I said, it's just one of those things. Like we became friends. We have like such a great energy, and we just always had such a good time. Like
Yeah.
my normal show is like an hour long. Again, we would be on for like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
So
Why stop it when you're having a good time?
exactly.
Well, and so I've actually this is a recent question I've been asking people because I've heard, I don't remember who it was, but it was a newer indie author and they said that they were, oh, it was in a Discord. They said they were very scared to hop onto TikTok because they were worried that they were going to get lost in the algorithm and like lost in the world of TikTok. And I was like, no, you need to go to the book talk community. Like it's a beautiful place. So like if someone approached you and said that they're nervous about going onto the book talk community, what would you tell them?
I would be like, just do it. I mean, it's not like you have to put yourself out there.
Right.
You can just be scrolling and see what's on there. You definitely want to make sure you stay with Book Talk because I have been ended up in some weird spots before. But if you keep looking up bookish, look up your authors, look up books, that will keep you in the Book Talk area. And
Right.
I've been lucky. Like I hear occasional Book Talk drama. I'm never on that side. I never see it. I always get it like after the fact. I'm like, oh, I didn't see that. So I don't know what they're talking about half the time. But
Yeah.
no, Book Talk has been life changing for me. I personally would not be an author had it not been for Book Talk because I did not know that you could be an indie author
Mm.
until I found Book Talk. So I'm a huge advocate for Book Talk.
Yeah. So t Book Talk was a place that you were like, wait, I can just publish on Amazon? And they're like, yeah, super easy.
I had no idea. I was
Yeah.
doing my query letters, which was way too soon because the last Pendragon was so not ready at that point. I was so
You
green.
did.
I did not know what I was doing. And I read somewhere that you had to build up your social media platform. So that's how I ended up on TikTok. And it's just, it was kismet. It was meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, and mine was because a friend did it, and he sat there, and, excuse me, he was like, yeah, I just published a book. I'm like, you did what? He's like, yes, Amazon just like has it all set up for you. I'm like, wait, what? So it's kind of interesting seeing these new indie authors come in and they're so hesitant. I'm like, it's so easy. Like, yeah, there's a lot of steps, a lot of learning curves, but it's so easy overall. Like, you'd be so surprised how quickly you can get a
And
book
if you
published.
have questions, just ask.
Yeah.
I have met, like, I'm talking big authors, like Rebecca F. Kinney is a friend and has helped me in so many different ways. Devin Atwood, who is a really good rom com author, is my editor. And I was on her art team and just asked if she knew anybody that was an editor. And she's like, oh, I am. My cover designer I found, she is an author who's on here, Rose. So it's like my entire dream team and all the people that I rely on, I found on TikTok.
Yeah, and see, and it's crazy finding other people that have these other skills, like being able to do book covers and the art and the fan art and
Yes,
stuff. And you're like, can you also help with that?
exactly.
Yeah, I love it. I love the whole indie artist area too, and just everyone coming together. It's so fun. And we
It
don't,
takes a village to put a book out. If you do it right, it takes a village.
it does. It does.
But in a good way. I don't want anybody to be intimidated. It's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I mean again, if you have everyone come together and you have your book cover being done by someone else, you don't have to stress on these little things. You can kind of delegate them out to people that you trust and they're authentic works and it's so nice.
Yes.
So, and you said that you were on TikTok, but you have your lives and you have your Instagram lives as well. Is there any other social platforms and you talked about your website that you want people to go to?
I do have a website. It's not a very creative website because I'm not a tech person, but you can go to JeanetteTQueen.com. But if you really want to talk to me, your best thing is to like go on Messenger. I am on Facebook, I am on Instagram, I am on TikTok. I do answer messages. I am on Clapper, though not as much. But I do have a page over there. But if you want to talk to me, your best bet is TikTok because that's where I spend most of my time
Yeah.
on socials. So
Yeah. I know a lot of people have been going over to Substack and I'm just terrified to try something new. Like I've heard it's good. I've heard good things and they have the live and everything, but I'm so scared to try something new.
me too. Like I moving to Instagram was hard, trying to figure out how to do lives over there. So
Yeah.
I don't know. TikTok's my comfort place. It's my happy place. So, but you can find me elsewhere. And like I said, I did just start the reading group, and that's open to. I think you have to apply. My PA is actually in charge of it. So, but you can apply, like answer the questions or whatever. And I
Mhm.
think that's called Jeanette T. Queen's Royal Court is my reading group over there.
Okay. And do you have this all in your link tree on TikTok? Because I can grab the links from there.
I do not have the face. I mean, I have Facebook, yes, not specifically the reading group, but
Okay.
yeah, all of my Clapper, Instagram, everything is on my link tree,
Okay. Okay. I'll
which
grab
is
those.
in my bio.
I'll put them in the descriptions for this.
Oh, I do have a YouTube channel, though. What I'm doing is like my lives that I do.
Mhm.
I'm slowly downloading them over there. So
Yeah. I actually just started putting these podcasts over on Spotify because again, I was terrified of trying a new platform, but it's been surprisingly easy moving those over there as well.
oh, I may have to look into that. That's a good avenue.
Oh yeah,
Let me write that
so much
down. I
easier
didn't
than
even
I
think
thought.
about that.
And you can actually do, so I've been doing audio over there and then video over on YouTube, so that way I'm trying to get people in both places. But you can also do video on Spotify, which I did not know that.
Now you just take the audio from your Zoom. Is that what you do
Mhm.
and upload it?
Yep, just take the audio. So I download the file as a MP3 and then yeah, upload that to Spotify. Add
I
all
wonder
the
if I
same
could take
information.
my have you tried like TikTok videos? Can you take a TikTok video and do that over
So
there?
I dump it into Filmora. So I dump it into an editing software and then I'll export it that way. So as long as you're able to pull the audio out as an MP3, yeah, whatever you can pull out, you can put into Spotify.
See, I learned something new today. I'm gonna have to look into that.
Right? And it's again, it's not as terrifying as it sounds. It's pretty straightforward. But you do have to go to Spotify Creators, which is a purple Spotify logo, not the green one. That was a lot
I
of
am
Google.
making this is why I keep pen and paper during every live I do, whether I'm the person or not.
Right.
I always learn something new and I take notes.
Yes. Yes, you always learn something new. I had to go on at one point and I was like, guys, what is a waffle? And what is oh gosh, what was the other one? Oh, schmivvy. For the longest time, I was like, what are you guys talking about here?
Yeah, I know. I started doing a video. a series called Things I Didn't Know Before Book Talk.
You could
So
add to that. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know.
yeah, same.
Yeah. Well, we do have 7 minutes. I was actually curious because you said you've been over on Instagram, and I've never had any good luck over there. How has your luck been on Instagram?
I honestly don't spend a lot of time over there.
Yeah.
My videos that I post on TikTok, I post over there, pretty much the same. I am trying to build up my Instagram more, but I am a TikTok girly. I found that you're either TikTok or Instagram. You don't love both.
Yeah. It's hard. It's a lot back and forth. I mean, it's pretty easy, yeah, just taking the same video and plopping it over there, but the notifications and keeping up with everything, like, it's very hard.
Yeah, it's more difficult over there, and I guess maybe because I'm late to the game. I started on TikTok. So, I mean, if I would have started there, it might be different. I don't know, but I'm definitely a TikTok girly.
I don't know, because I started on Instagram and it felt like it was flop after flop, and I'm like, man, I should just give up on this. And then I came over here, I'm like, maybe I should just give up on Instagram.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, like I said, I mean, I offer lives on Instagram because
Yeah,
TikTok requires you have to have 1,000 people, and some newer authors or newer to TikTok don't have that.
yeah,
So, but I still want them to be able to share their books and what they have going on. So that's when I started doing lives on Instagram.
right,
And I tell people, I was like, my following is not as big over there, but at least you're getting out there. So, and it gives them some experience doing a live and doing an interview.
right. Well, and actually, okay. I don't know if you've heard about from our team that we have a passport book project. I don't know if you that's ring a bell at all. Okay.
No.
So what we have is that, and this idea totally came from Mama D. I'm definitely not stealing it. Like I came from, she has the traveling books, and so I kind of took a little bit of that. But what I do is I take indie author books, and then I'll read, review, add my own little sticker, like my brand sticker, and then send it to the next person with a Schmivy deal. So we'll pick a next reader and send it on to them. They'll do the same thing. They'll read, review, and add a sticker of their own. It doesn't have to be brand. It could be their little business. It could be their handle, and then they send it on and so forth, whatever. But then what happens is once all those blank spots in the book are filled up with stickers, it'll come back to the author as a passport book looking thing, and you just have all these readers that read your book, and you have all these reviews, and it's kind of traveling the world. And I didn't know if that interests you at all because I feel like that
I
might be
would
something good.
definitely do that. Do I send you the book? Because I will happily do that.
Yeah, if you like, I'll get it started.
Absolutely. Message me your address. I'll get it in the mail this week.
Awesome.
Do you want it signed by me or no?
That's up to you because I mean, it'll go to everybody, but it'll end up back at you.
Well, I don't want to sign it because then they'll try to keep it. Someone will
Mm.
keep it.
Hmm.
I
Yes,
don't
that is a fair warning. My hesitation with a lot of this, I do really ask the readers, and I do have like a three strike policy. Like I have a whole thing on the back end, like this has to keep going. So I'm really hoping I never run into where someone is holding on to a book because that would be absolutely devastating. But that is a possibility. So
You know what? It's worth a shot. I'm
yeah.
willing to absolutely. I'll definitely participate.
Okay, good. Hopefully that can help with your campaign, kind of getting the book out there and getting some reviews on your first book, and then they'd be like,
Absolutely.
now I've
And
already
get
read it. Now I
them
have to go to the
interested in
second.
book two.
Exactly. All right, well, we do have about 3 minutes left. I'm actually out of questions because some of them flew away earlier. So I didn't know if there's anything else you wanted to add about your campaign or about your first or second book and just really kind of hyping it up.
Like I said, if you love fantasy, if you love Arthurian, I'm I will say that there's no spice in this series. This is more young adult, though there is foul language, so the F bomb is thrown out there quite a bit, actually, more so in book two. Because I actually had my editor come and told me because I use freaking a lot, and I got small kids, so that's me. I use the word freaking a lot, and my editor's like, Jeanette, there is a time and a place for the F bomb, even in young adult. So throw it out there.
Right.
So
I was gonna say, I think in Deadpool he says PG-13 gets one F-bomb and two somethings, two like shits or something.
yes.
I don't know. I don't know if I can
Yeah,
say
so
that.
that there is the foul language, and
Yeah.
there is mention of blood slaves and things like that. So I say it's more like 16 up, but I guess it's young adult, new adult.
Yeah.
There is no spice in it, but it's just a fun fantasy adventure, but not super epic where it's like 6,000 pages. It's an enjoyable read. I think people will love it.
Yeah.
Everybody that has read it has loved it. I've had one bad review, and it was because they did not understand Santa Claus. Now, if they would have read it, they would have understood. But, it's okay to each their own. He actually became a fan favorite, and people love Hot Santa. So,
I'm very intrigued by Hot Santa. You've got me at that one. Maybe that should be like its own like marketing pitch.
um, he will become making his rounds again for Christmas in July.
Yeah. Yes. Good. Smart. Yeah. So you don't have, because you said it's more like YA, you don't have any trigger warnings that you need to put out there for that?
I do have trigger warnings
Okay.
actually, because even though I mean it's a fantasy, there are some things that I just felt were worth mentioning, just because someone's health is very important, and just because it doesn't trigger me doesn't mean it's not going to trigger somebody else. So it has adult language, adult situations, mention of sex and blood slaves, unwanted sexual advances, abduction, forced captivity, fantasy violence. There's like beheading and things like that. It's swords, decapitation, death of a pregnant woman and her unborn child, past not an MC, and mention of pregnancy due to rape, past not on MC. So, like I said, there's some strong adult themes,
Right.
but there's no spice. so,
Yeah,
so
good.
I did still have to do a trigger warning.
Right. No, that's good for people that need to know that kind of stuff too. And I can
Yes,
see that you had that in the front of the book.
I do have it in
Okay,
the front of the book.
perfect.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, now we are down to less than a minute, so it will just randomly kick us out of here. So I do want to say thank you so much for coming today, and I hope the best of luck on your second book and more sales on your first book as well.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you. You
Yes,
have to come on my new show with Stacy. I think
I
you'd have
will.
a blast.
Yes, absolutely. All right,
All
well, you
right.
have a
Well,
great rest of your
thank
night.
you. Have a good one.